Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance. In this resistance video, sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's his story. Hello, Ollie. I would like to remain anonymous for this writing at first. Maybe in the future I will reveal my identity. I'm finally going to get my story out on paper for you to share. I have much to share and would love your feedback and the feedback of your subscribers. I was born and raised in Queens, New York, 1978. I am the middle child with a younger brother and older sister. My mother is still alive, but my father passed at the age of 63 2 years ago. My father was a drug and alcohol abuser. My mother was neither. But she was in denial about the fact that her husband was a lifelong heroin addict and an alcoholic. But as their children, we should not have been raised around such a person. He was extremely mentally abusive and had scarred us for our entire lives. He would make threats like, I'll kill all of you, then I'll kill myself. Lovely things like that. He even once kidnapped me at the age of 10 or 12, and my mother let him do it. His reason for kidnapping me was that I was going to be his strength as he attempted to kick heroin. Jesus. So about 4 days, I had to watch my father roll around on the floor, kicking and screaming, and ask for God to take his life and end his misery as he withdrew from heroin. It was one of the most traumatic moments of my life, and will be with me forever. When I talk about it, I always get choked up because of people's reactions. And then I realize what a fucked up story I'm telling. Well, my sister spent as much time away from the house as possible, and soon as she was able, she went off to college. My brother was too young and didn't really see all the mayhem around him the way I did. He is also homosexual, so my father would tease him and didn't really spend time with him. I was lucky enough to share a name with this monster, and I was born his first son, so he was drawn to me. I never went away to school. I stayed home because I felt he was too dangerous to be alone with my mother and brother. He would constantly accuse my mother of cheating on him when he was the cheater. I knew this because he would tell me about it. He would also tell me to never get married and use women only for sex. I could go on forever about the bullshit, but I would rather break them down in future stories. These years of abuse finally came to a head when I was 27 years old. One night I was delivering food for a pizza shop, and my mother called me hysterical, crying that my father was chasing her around trying to choke her with an extension cord. You know, this is the woman who made a fucking 12-year-old detox his own father off of heroin. This is something that, like, Charlene had to deal with. I didn't deal with this so much. Whereas you're the fucking referee in your parents' fucked up marriage. You're their marriage counselor. You're all that. Call the police. What's the point of calling you at 20 so you can cover it up, so you can come there get? It's not going to stop it. You played your mother's patsy for all of it. Her savior, and you're his drug counselor. She sent you away with him to do that. I immediately went home, and the first time I kicked my father's ass. To be honest, he was so high at the time that I physically had no problem manhandling him. Well, we got him kicked out and a restraining order put against him. So from 27 years old, I have been trying to rebuild myself. I have such a dark past that it consumes me sometimes. I also deal with addiction problems, and that eats me alive because it makes me feel too much like my father. I'm doing very well with it, though. I'm sorry, the page jumped on me. I'm doing very well with it, though, and have been for some time now. I still struggle with my relationships that I have with my mother, sister, and brother, though. Well, yeah, because you have not. Yeah, your father was a manipulative, awful, heroin-addicted fucking son of a bitch. But your mother fed you to him. And you're the one who had to clean up her problems. Whether it was at 12, trying to get your father off of heroin, or at 27, finally getting him thrown out of the house. Your mother used her own child, and she's been using you your whole life. You probably could have handled having a drug-addicted father a heroin-addicted father. If your mother could have been some kind of support system for you. If she just wasn't there using you, being the emotional vampire I'm sure she's always been. I feel like they don't understand what I went through, and at this point it's been so long that I don't even think they care anymore. They know, man, they never cared. You're the black sheep. You're there to do all the grunt work and get zero appreciation for it. It would be like you're there with your mother, and out in the field, let's just say there's some radioactive hole with a cover. That's open. That needs to be closed, and hypothetically, we'll just cut off the radiation. And it's just you and your mother. Your mother sent you to close that. That's your issue. That's the type of selfish, covert, narcissistic mother you have. Because that's what she did by making your 12-year-old go with a heroin addict to detox him. That's what she did, where she's at 27, she's calling you to rescue her. That's a metaphor for probably how she's treated you your whole life. You're there to get exposed to the radiation and protect her and probably your brother and sister. That's being the black sheep, man. They don't care that you get infected with radiation, that you now have struggles with addiction. As long as her life was just a little easier, right? I'm also glad to say that I'm nothing like my father when it comes to women. I'm happily married to my wife, Katie, and we have been together and faithful to each other for over 11 years now. Married 2 years this October. My mother is still in denial about what happened all those years and refuses to acknowledge it. Of course. She refuses to look in the mirror. She never will. She knows the truth. That's why she won't acknowledge it. She doesn't need to. She knows the truth. How you send a 12-year-old? Radioactive hole. That's how you know the true narcissistic mother, the true selfish sociopathic mother. Do they expose themselves, or do they send their child to get exposed and save themselves? And that's what your mother's been doing her entire life, is sacrificing you to save herself. It really affected me and my growth as a human being. My mother says I'm using it as an excuse and cuts me barely any slack. My family is extremely judgmental towards my wife and I, and it's getting to the point I'm thinking of going no contact. Well, shit, man, I was going to ask you what you're waiting for. What do you need these people for? I can tell that they talk about us when we're not around. They live 10 minutes from us and never visit us, but are constantly at each other's homes for dinner or even just to hang out. Yeah, dude, that's the exclusion of being the black sheep. And you think she's going to acknowledge her serving you up like that for her own benefit? It's never going to happen. I'm sick of the looks and the bullshit I have to go through to be accepted by them. We aren't as successful as everyone else, and it seems to matter way too much to these people. Like if you don't have your own home with children, that you aren't living right. My wife and I are perfectly fine, though. I'm a carpenter, and she recently has become a certified yoga instructor. We are currently on our way to making more money and hopefully one day get our own home. But we would never judge someone who didn't have. It's like we are the family embarrassment. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I will try to focus on one story at a time with my next writing. Thank you for all you do, Ollie. I also appreciate all of the stories your subscribers send in. Thanks to you guys as well. Anonymous. You gotta get away from your family. You are a prototypical black sheep 101. All of it. You know, that gaslighting. You know when they're hanging out together. You know that's not a coincidence. That you're purposely excluded. We all go through it. It's all part of the psychological games. And why? To protect your mother's bullshit so she never has to look in that mirror. Who cares at this point? You have to accept what she is. She's a true sociopath. She's a true covert narcissist. She sent her own child to a radioactive hole to be exposed and saved herself. That's all you need to remember about your mother. So, thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. I hope this helped. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it growing, supported, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.